What's up? What a day, huh? I mean, up at 5 a.m. to watch Ozzy's funeral procession. To be fair, I didn't stay awake long enough for it because it didn't happen right away. I had a suspicion that it wasn't going to. I kind of expected it to take a minute, but at 5 o'clock in the morning, my brain functions so very little that hi Chew that I did not have the ability to do the math of like, oh, I'll set the alarm for 15 more minutes or whatever it was. So I just logged into the live stream and then I propped the live stream up next to the bed and was like watching it until I fell asleep. And then I kept waking up and looking for it and waking up and looking for it. And then finally I woke up and I was like, it has to have happened. Because there was just like a mob scene around the bench. It was just people everywhere. And I'm like, there's no way they let that happen if it hasn't already happened. So I was able to rewind the live stream and then catch it. And then, have my heart broken watching the family walk up and place their flowers at the bench. I mean, that just hurt my heart, especially for all the smack people talk about Sharon and Ozzy. They were married in 1982. So that is a lot of decades together for someone to lose their partner. And it just hurts my heart. Hi, Victor. It just hurts my heart that it happens, like, wow. That was super awkward. It hurts my heart that it happened. Hi, Victor. That was so ADD of me, wasn't it? Sorry. Hi, Sane. I went to the Giants game before work. What? I am super amped on coffee right now. Hi, John Ortiz. You just turned off Kylie for this. Thank you. I will try to be more interesting than Kylie Minogue, but I will not show as much skin as Kylie Minogue does. So I'm just putting that out there right now. No, saying you're right on time. I mean, I just started. And I have to kind of go short today because I'm in Daly City at the studio at the radio station instead of the home studio. So as soon as traffic dies down, I'm going to GTFO and hopefully get home in a decent hour because it's been a long day. So yeah, not only was I up at 5 a.m. for that, but then I had to get up early so I could get everything done at home and then come into the station early so I could get all my show stuff set up and then bolt out to the Giants game so that I could see, have family in town. Plus my, so it was like my niece and nephew from North Carolina were at the game and my nephews in Pacifica were at the game. So it was like a big family bleacher day thing. I'm so tired right now. And I didn't have time to eat anything. I forgot. I packed a lunch, but I didn't have time to eat it before I went to the ballpark. And then I kept trying to use that Uber Eats thing at the ballpark because I have this Uber Eats credit and it wasn't working. And I kept trying to they were like, oh, you have to turn on your locations. And I was like, of course my locations are on. I call Ubers all the time. And so Uber knows exactly where I am all the time whenever I open the app. I tried changing my settings and this, that, and the other thing. And I still could not figure out how to order Uber Eats from a seat like it says you can at the ballpark. And then I finally was like, forget it. I'm just going to go get food. And I walked around and everything was so expensive. It was like everything is $20. Just boom, right there. Just expect to pay $20 for everything. And if it doesn't cost $20, it probably costs more than $20. And I was like, I got food back at the station and I cheaped out. I just hung out with the family and I didn't get anything. I think that was the first time I have been to Oracle Park since it opened where I haven't gotten a Polish dog and a beer or something. But and the beer was all in cans. I didn't see anybody selling draft beer at the ballpark. I mean, $20 for a tall boy. It just goes against everything that 15-year-old shoulder tapping me went through. Like even when I was illegally buying beer as a teenager and shoulder tapping people, like they didn't charge me $20 for a 6-pack. Come on, man. Like we flipped them a $5 on top of the 6-pack price. But anyway, I digress. Saying you listen to wait, what? Hold on, I missed stuff. Okay. Yeah, it was heartbreaking. I don't think they will ever heal. I just don't think it happens. I think it's just one of those things that as a family they will carry every day. And I hope they all get some therapy for dealing with it, because I think that's the only thing that's going to kind of lighten that load. But I mean, I just don't see how you could have someone be that significant a part of your life for that long and be that significant to the world for that long without going through nonstop daily reminders for the rest of your life about it. So yeah, my heart goes out for the entire family for dealing with that pretty much forever. Oliver, hi. Coffee, and more coffee. It's hump day. It is. I hate that hump day thing, though. I'm like, I don't know. I suppose I could embrace it. Victor, nope. I stay here with you. No, I go home when I go home. Saying you listened to the live from last night this morning, so you knew I was going to see the Giants. You have LA roots, so no, we don't mix. It's not a thing. We take that seriously here. I don't know if you've been told, but that rivalry typically just goes one way, but it starts here. Goes that way. Hi, Brad. Brian, I don't get up at 5 a.m., but when Ozzy is being laid to rest, I make an exception. I have gotten up at 5 a.m. for work on occasion. Most memorably in 2002. Yeah, that's how rare it is. In 2002, I remember working Rolling Stones at Oracle Park, and I had to be up at 5 a.m. every day in the pouring rain for that gig. It was a nightmare. We had a strike, and the strike ended up being Teamsters, who would never have worked the show anyway. But because they got a strike, IATSE had to strike in sympathy. So we had all scab labor for the whole week, and it was a total nightmare. John, you prefer green, go A's. The A's did go. They went to Sacramento, and then they're going to Las Vegas. So you can prefer them all you want, but you can't see them in the Bay. Have fun driving a Sac. I won't. Hi, Jacob. Oliver, the Brewers passed the Cubbies at the moment. Baseball season is only in passing for me this year because the Giants, as you may or may not know, are having what we like to call here in the business a shit season. Yeah. So really it's just fun, family, and the occasional excellent play. I mean, there were some really good plays today. We have one of those teams that's not playing badly. They're just not winning. And it's weird. It's annoying. It reminds me of the 90s. And it reminds me of the aughts, the time between 2002 and 2010 kind of reminds me of that. It's given like, I don't know, 2007 vibes. Sane, salute to everyone in the chat. You're in Central Ohio. Oh, I'm so sorry. Why do you put chili on your spaghetti? I think that's so weird. I mean, you guys put chili on like everything, but it's not even like a good thick chili. It's like a thin chili. It's like a gravy chili that I'm so confused by that Ohio business. God, yeah. My mom was from Cleveland Heights, but I still won't go to Ohio. I went to Ohio once when I was like, I don't know, 4, 5. I have vague memories of going to their house out there. And then once when I was on tour with Jackson Browne, we ended our tour in Cleveland, and I ended up getting my flight delayed. Well, my flight wasn't delayed, actually. They were taking volunteers, and I volunteered. And then because nobody else would volunteer, They gave us like, it was like me and finally one other woman volunteered. They gave us both $1,000. And it wasn't even flight credit. It was like Visa gift cards. We got like 2 $500 Visa gift cards. And because I'd had a first class flight, they went above and beyond to make sure that I was still flying first class home. And I had like, I don't know, like 6 hours to kill. So I just took an Uber with my carry-on bag, and I Ubered to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And that's how I got to see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because I would never ever otherwise go to Cleveland. Kardec, the game was good. We had a really fun time. I am officially an old person who's like, I remember going to baseball games when it was a nice day at the park. I remember, like, I used to work for Bass Tickets. So, and that was before when we had the Giants as a client. So there was a way that I could get into games like all the time. So I used to go to Giants games nonstop in the mid-90s. We were terrible, but still, we had fun at the park. And baseball was this is why they called it the thinking man's game, right? Not just because of all there is to keep track of statistically, and because it's common for the people in the crowd to be taking the stats, but also because you had time to sit around and chew the fat with everybody around you, and have some drinks and eat some food and just hang out and watch the game. And now everything is so like, come on. It's a t-shirt cannon. It's a cable car race. It's a this, it's a that. And there's the, the pitch clock, and then the whole, like, today's game went into extra innings, and there's a whole new section of like extra inning bullshit. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. And it's all designed to just end the game faster. It's all designed to just like make baseball less baseball. And I hate it. And I get it that there are people out there who were like bored with baseball. And I'm not saying that those people are simple-minded. I'm just saying that if you got bored with baseball, then you were at the wrong sport. You should be at a basketball game where everything never stops, because somewhere in the middle of that raffle, a basketball game might break out. And it doesn't mean that I hate basketball. It's just a different vibe. And when I go for a baseball game, I treat that like it's a day at the lake, man. We're just hanging out. We're having good conversation. We're having good food. We're having a couple drinks. And we're all just watching what's happening in front of us, and also being involved in that. And it's not like that anymore. Every time I would have like half a conversation with the family, I would miss like 2 innings and be like, what the hell just happened? Wait, what? So good and bad when it comes to baseball. Saying $20 for a tall boy. I know, right? It's just like goes against everything I ever stood for. I mean, we used to get $1.40s of Schaefer at the 7-Eleven on Tabor Avenue in Fairfield. I mean, it was the 80s, but still, you could get a 40 for $1 if you really tried. I'm totes dating myself. I know. Hi, Joseph. Oh, Laura, you cried through the whole thing. Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, the whole thing just like the whole processional, it just hurt my heart, but it hurt me extra when they got out of the car at the bench. Like, that was just too much. Brian, the tide is super high in Benicia. Oh, from the tsunami? You know what? It was so funny. Who was complaining? My sister was flying in. And as she's flying in, she's like, great, tsunami warning. And I was like, dude, we have had probably, I don't know, a couple dozen tsunami warnings. And I think of all of those tsunami warnings, like once they jostled the boats in the docks, and I think that was it. It was like, we've never had a tsunami related death, so every time there's a tsunami warning, just no one takes it seriously around here, and they're never gonna. I mean, honestly, we just, knock wood, we never seem to get a serious tsunami. Saying so much love from the crowd in Birmingham and all over the world. Oh, yeah. There's only going to be love for Ozzy. Anybody. It's funny because I have that, I have this video that I posted of Jason Momoa introducing the final Black Sabbath show, and it's practically gone viral, which is crazy to me. But and Jason Momoa is very beloved, right? And there are serious haters on that about Jason Momoa, even though he's there to like introduce Ozzy and the Black Sabbath. But no one has ever, knock wood, talked any smack about Ozzy on any of my stuff over the years because he's just so beloved. Even when he cheated on Sharon, everybody was like, Ozzy, you minx, stop it. Okay. Christopher, who won? Giants played the Pirates and the Pirates won. David, 5 a.m. is brutal. I don't know how people do it on the regular, the ones that do. More power to you because, wow. Yeah, I got nothing. I'm just like, it's a good thing that I rarely have to do that anymore. Sane, thank you for posting the stop by the bridge this morning. Oh, yeah. It was, you know why I did that? I almost wasn't going to. And then I opened Instagram to see if I missed it from somewhere else. And no one had posted anything. And I was like, well, God, you know, I can't be the only person on the West Coast that could not get up in time for this. So I had it right there, and I just like screen grabbed it and posted it because I figured there was, it couldn't just be me, right? There's a lot of people that are not up to getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning for a live stream. Oliver, it was a good old time at the American Shindig. Baseball as a family get together. Yeah, it is, right? Saying the chili on spaghetti is a Southern Ohio thing. All right. I mean, all of Ohio is practically the size of the Bay Area, right? Like, how long does it take you to get from one end of how long does it take you to get from one end of the state to the other? Sorry. Yes, comma, it's real, and I have no idea how it happens or where it came from. But I am doing better than good, comma, thank you, exclamation point. Next time you're gigging up here, you should tell me. So my buddy Mike Dawson, he's a comedian, and he is also on Monsters on the Mountain, our mountain festival. And he texted me earlier today, and he was like, he lives in LA. And he goes, I was in town over the weekend, and I heard an alternative version of Tom Petty's You Don't Know How It Feels on the Bone, where he said, let's hit another joint instead of roll another joint. Am I insane? Did this really happen? And I've gotten texts on the Bone text line asking me the exact same question, to the point where I was like, okay, maybe there is something going on. And I've listened to it, and it is. It's like we're playing an alternate version of it. And there are most Tom Petty fans who are like super into that song are probably a little high when they're hearing it and they're not noticing. But there are some Tom Petty fans out there that are like, where did this come from? And why is it happening? And am I hearing it right? And I'm just like, I don't know. So now I tell people I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, I think it's the same one. What? It sounds weird. That doesn't make sense. The lyrics are different. No, you just heard it. Like, I just gaslight people into thinking they're crazy. Whenever people text me, they'll be like, I was listening and I heard that Tom Petty song and it says, you know, and I'm like, don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, so I came clean to my buddy from out of town, though. It's not all the time. I'm not that mean. I just occasionally will, you know, gaslight a listener into thinking that they heard what they didn't hear what they heard. How could there possibly be an alternative version to a Tom Petty song? Like, why would that be a thing? Apparently there is, though. And I don't know why. Oh, thanks, Kartik. Yeah, I'm bummed the Giants lost too, but I got to be honest with you. I spent my entire life just begging for the Giants to get a pennant. And then lo and behold, we won 3 World Series out of nowhere. So I'm good. I am good. I mean, I was pretty deeply scarred in 02 with that Angels series. It took me a long time to get over that. And then none of us are over the 89 series, so let's not bring that up at all, because that was proof that, if there's a God, God is a Giants fan, because even God couldn't watch the Giants lose another game to the A's in the 89 World Series, and we had to have the earthquake. But yeah, thanks. As a longtime Giants fan, I'm done being angry when they're not a good team. Christopher, I know the Giants and the A's have a rivalry. When the A's were in the National League before 1901, when they became an American League team, the A's had money troubles in the late 1800s, and the Giants voted Philadelphia Athletics out of the National League. That is some deep-ass trivia, Christopher. Deep. I mean, 1901? You're talking some 19th century baseball trivia, bro. You should be at a bar somewhere for trivia night. John, whose guitar is behind me. It looks cool with a reverse headstock. You're talking about the Jackson, right? You can't see the Squire from here. I know the one over there is a Def Leppard guitar, but I think we were looking at this and we couldn't tell whose signatures were on it. And I don't remember when we got it. Let's see. It looks like 04. So whoever played Bone Bash in 04, it came from whoever that was. As you know, autographs are hard to read. Let's see if I can find it. Bone Bash 2004. Conquer Pavilion, Blue Oyster Cult, Deep Purple, Dokken, Joe Satriani, Thin Lizzy. Huh. Oh, I know why I don't remember that. I was on KSJO at the time. I didn't go. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I probably did go, but I worked it. I think that's exactly what happened. In fact, now that I think about it, I kind of remember having a conversation with Larry Sharp at the time. And I remember him bringing that conversation up when he interviewed me, because he was like, you and I had a conversation at the Conquer Pavilion at Bone Bash. And I remember you saying things that were less than fully supportive of your program director. And he goes, I don't ever want that happening with us. And I was like, well, then don't piss me off. He was like, no, seriously. And I was like, seriously? And he's like, no, seriously. And I was like, okay. I mean, now I'll piss him off because, why not? No. God, that was so long ago. So I guess it's one of those bands. John, I'm sorry. I don't know which one. I would have to try and decipher the signatures. But it predates my full-time tenure with the Bone, and it postdates my internship. Victor, Ozzy was a legend since he was born. The man was pure talent and love. Yeah, he was. He was always special. Christopher, you've been to Texas Ranger games during the 80s. Okay. I'm glad you have been to baseball games, dude. Kartik, you want to send Craig Cicero a Seahawks jersey? Okay. Yeah, I mean, Seahawks and Cowboys, we'll burn them all. It just seems like like a waste of money to buy a jersey to burn it. Saying you still remember that horrible earthquake in 89? We all do. We all do. 'Cause, 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 'cause like the S word in Pink Floyd Money and Jet Airliner by Steve Miller. Yeah, we have those censored out because FCC regulations. John, I know who Dana Jang is, but Dana Jang predates my time at KSJO. Do I have any memories or run-ins with any of the LA area rock stations in SoCal, like KNAC, KMET? No, not really. I mean, I hate LA, obs. But I mean, I did go down there a lot, and I remember at one point the Ramones played the K-Rock Weenie Roast, and I was like, well, we're going to that. So we hopped in my Firebird and we drove down. Wait, was it the Camaro by then? It might have been the Camaro. I think it was, well, whatever. Depends on the year. I'd have to Google it. And I remember I drove down with my bestie Jen and my friend Kevin. You know what? It was the Camaro because it was my buddy Kevin from the pool hall that I was working at in 1994, which means it was definitely the Camaro. So we rolled the Camaro down to LA. I remember we stayed at his parents' house in Thousand Oaks, and his parents were like rich. And I was all, dude, you didn't tell us your parents were like stupid rich. And he was like, oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that. And I was like, this is so weird. We're staying in a rich people's house and we're going to a punk rock show and we're just like all grungy. And in the morning, I remember this was so weird because we rolled in hella late and we slept late and we woke up at like brunch time. And his parents had gone down the street to like a Togo's and just bought a random selection of sandwiches. And then and then put them all in a basket for us. And then presented us with this basket of like Togo's sandwiches as like a brunch thing. And I was like, A, blown away that they were feeding us, and B, blown away that they were feeding us with like $6 sandwiches. And then C, completely blown away that they had a random selection of $6 sandwiches. I was like, what's going to happen to the sandwiches we don't eat? Can we take those with us? And we did, by the way. Yeah, we totally did because broke as a joke in 94. Hi, Justine. How are you? Christopher, the 1989 World Series would have been canceled. Should have been canceled. Yeah, right? I know. Had we known, we would have at least rescheduled. Carlton, don't forget to add the Niner jersey to the list. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I have a feeling it's trying to cap, and I am going to just move on. Saying you saw the Ramones at the Ford in 88. Nice. God, what was my first Ramones show was at the Fillmore, and it was July 2nd, 1989, and I got into a car accident on the way home in Berkeley because I was pulling over for gas, and this dude was like, I was trying to get into the gas station, and this dude was mad at me for going too slow because we were trying to figure out if the station was open or not because it was like 2:00 in the morning because we like hung out with the band after the show. And then dude was like trying to get around me on the right. And then I turned into the station and I was turning into the station, like just as he tried to get around me, BMW right into my car. I crumpled his Beamer with my Firebird, just, Detroit steel motherfuckers. And 2:00 in the morning, it's 1989. And I'm like, how the hell am I going to get home? I tried to drive the car, but it turned out in hindsight, there was a bent tie rod that was making a horrific sound. And at the time, my boyfriend, his dad was my insurance agent. So I had to get a payphone and call him and wake him up in the middle of the night, 2:00 in the morning, because he didn't go with me to the show. I went with my girlfriends and be like, hey, honey, can you come and get me? I'm in Berkeley on University Avenue. He lived in Vacaville. So it was a hike at 2:00 in the morning. And then also I need a tow because AAA only towed you like 5 miles back then. So he was like, but he loved me. So he drove all the way to Berkeley, helped me push the car into a parking spot where I could leave it overnight. And we talked to the guys at like the Holiday Inn right there on University, which was there at the time. I don't think it's there now. And we're like, hey, can we leave this car overnight? And they were like, whatever. Like clearly they gave 0 fucks. And then we drove all the way home to Vacaville, slept, got up the next day. He rented a trailer for my car that he was able to hitch on the back of his truck, and then drove all the way to Berkeley, loaded my car up on the trailer, took it all the way back to Vacaville. And then I think either he fixed it or my stepfather fixed it. And I remember that tie rod cost $50. And in 89, $50 was a bunch of money. That was my first Ramon show. And I met Dee Dee that night. I met the whole band that night, but meeting Dee Dee was a big deal because 3 days later, he quit the band and never came back. And I was like, dude, I kind of took it personally for some reason. Christopher, go Cowboys. No, go home, Cowboys. You love the Niners in the 80s up to the mid 90s. Okay. Joseph, do I know the Canadian punk band DOA? I've heard of them, but I don't know them personally. I've heard of them, but I'm not familiar with their music. I'm more of a Ramones fan than a punk rock fan. Like, I mean, it's not that I don't love punk. I'm more of a metal chick, though. I'm just more on the metal tip. Just the tip. PJ, what's up? Look at you popping in. Hobson and I were talking about how, like, you really don't hang out like you used to anymore. Kartik, you have a coworker who's a diehard Seahawks fan? Sorry. Oh, God. I hate to see him in that jersey. Does he have that horrible chartreuse jersey? Ugh. The Seahawks have the ugliest jerseys ever. Oh, he hates the Niners? Wah. Kathleen, hey, did you get my thank you? The game was good. We had a blast. I had to leave before it was over, but that was good because the Giants blew it in the 10th. And I made it to work just in time. So everything worked out perfectly. Thank you. Kartik, you like the Ramones? Old punk is excellent. Yeah, it is. Justin and Justine. How cute. Yeah, I call you Sane because I can't remember anybody's name. And I just, if I see it there, that's what I'm going to call you just so that I know so that everybody else knows who I'm referring to, because you're on YouTube, but other people are on Facebook and someone is on Twitch. At the end of every broadcast, I get like a Twitch summary and there's always like 1 or 2 people on Twitch, but I don't know who they are and they never say anything. So every once in a while, somebody will comment from Twitch and I'll be like, oh my God, it's a Twitch person. Oh, good. Thank you, Kathleen. I appreciate that. So sweet of you. And just so convenient. PJ, you don't like to share your Nikki time with everyone. It's not your Nikki time, bro. It's everyone's Nikki. It's my Nikki time. I'm sharing it with you. I just have to share it with, more people at once. I mean, at least I can share it here with a smaller group and you can talk directly to me, in addition to sharing it here with the whole world where you can't talk back to me. I mean, you can, but you have to send a text. And nobody ever texts. I get like 3 texts a day on the text line, which is funny because Lamont and Shasta, like all morning and midday, it's just like text. And then afternoons happens and it's all bink, nothing. Which is fine. I'm not mad at it. I mean, I talk to everybody on the socials anyway, so. Hey, Brett. Good afternoon. It's pretty much good evening now. Carlos, I'm good. I am feeling pretty good. That's because the coffee hasn't worn off yet. And I had a really good time at the Giants game with the family. And I was very nervous about making everything on time, getting up at you probably missed me talking about it earlier, but getting up at 5 a.m. to watch Ozzy's funeral procession and then getting into the city so that I could do work here at the station before I went to the Giants game, and then came back from the Giants game to finish work from the station. And then here we are. And pretty soon I will be jumping into what is hopefully not terrible traffic, although commute started right around the same time as the Giants game. And typically that screws everything up. Let's see. What's it looking like? Ugh. Yeah. We're hanging out for at least a couple more minutes. Kardik, there's one word to describe Nikki, me, and it's styling. Am I styling? Profiling? Like a LL Cool J song? Going back to Cali? That is going back to Cali, right? I'm going back to Cali. Styling, profiling. You didn't know I could rap, did you? Oh, I can, actually. It's just very much advised that I don't. But I can. PJ, I know how it was at the beginning of my live streams. Oh my God, dude, are you mad that like you have to share me with like a handful of people instead of it being just like you and two other guys? Like, I don't know what to say, man. I mean, I'm here for you. I'm talking right at you. I'm reading all your comments. It's like, yeah. Joseph, metal chicks are great. You're a metalhead, but you also like punk. Yeah, I think that's like here in the Bay Area, we've always had a crossover, like a pretty strong one. Oh my God, PJ, you're having dinner at your parents'? Enjoy. Well, thanks for stopping by, gracing us with your presence, and complaining about how it wasn't good enough for you. Justine, concert promos cut off before I'm done talking. Oh, you're on the app. That's why. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what's going on, but there is something in the app that is cutting off some of the talking, and they're working on it. But they do know it's happening. So thank you for letting me know. Yeah, saying here in the Bay, there's always been a strong crossover. So it's not weird to me, right? Tony, I don't sing. I can't sing white lines. I mean, I could, actually. Kardik, I technically don't limit myself to one genre. I can have it all. However, I do enjoy one more than the other. PJ, don't you dare bring that blue shit in my house. Get out of here. Go have dinner. Go see your mama. Go tell your mama what you told me, okay? I hope she smacks you. Dare you. I'm wearing the Giants jersey. You want to talk about that blue team? Like, stop it. Hi, Sherry. Happy Wednesday indeed. You know, this week is going by so fast. Normally, I am thrilled that the week is going by so fast, but I feel like I have so much more to do before the week is over. I mean, I was like, I would have logged on earlier, but I forgot I had to do Metal Zone today because I didn't do it yesterday. And I thought I did it yesterday, but I did not. Oh yeah, Justine, you're listening on the website. Okay, so website app, it's a digital problem is what I meant to say. I'm sorry. It's, from what I understand, it's not happening in the on-air product. From what goes out over the FM signal, it's just happening in the digital. So I'm sorry about that, but we are trying to fix it. Kardik, you're glad shitty music exists so that you can make fun of it. Aw, I'll tell you what though. People used to complain and say this was crap music and this was crap music, but I mean, depending on what it is, sometimes you like those pop songs. I mean, I love ABBA. I have always been an ABBA fan, but for a long time, people would be like, ew, ABBA, meh. And I'm like, just whatever. I don't care. I would listen to Kiss and ABBA and AC/DC and what is that song? God, I used to love this disco song. It was called Knock on Wood by Amy Grant. Not the Christian singer Amy Grant, but like a soul singer, Amy Grant, who did disco in like the craziest outfits. I love that song. And it was a cover song, I know. So it's a cover of a 50s song, but still, it's really good. The cover's better than the original. Saying you always love Northern California thrash and metal bands. Nice. Testament is also one of my favorites. I have also met Chuck Billy In the 80s, I was scared of him because he's so big and scary looking, and I thought he was mean. And then I actually met him, and I was like, you're so nice. Same thing with Kerry King. I remember in like 1987, I saw Slayer at Mountain View Theater, and I was like, Kerry King's a dick. He was like spitting on people. And then I got to know him like a couple years later, and I was like, you're not such a bad guy. You're kind of like normal. Like, it's so weird. And then we've been friends ever since. Tony, the punk metal crossover was violent. Yeah, how do you think I got a fat lip at a Victims Family show? What are you going to do? I think I told you that story before, right? I was on a date. At Gilman in Berkeley. And sure enough, he took me to a Victims Family show in Gilman, and we were in the pit, and I got punched in the face and got a fat lip. And I was like, sad face. Christopher, rock, rap, punk was big in the Bay. Yeah. Hi, Frank. I am good. Oh, thank you. I am so amped up on coffee right now. I didn't eat anything like at all day. I just had coffee. I had coffee in the morning, and then I had coffee on the way to the station, and then I had another coffee on the way to the ballpark because there was a coffee shop on the way to the ballpark. And then I had another coffee on the way back to the station. So I have had 4 coffees today before I got here to eat anything. And Sherry, you were up at 4:55 to watch Ozzy, and then it happened at like 5:15 or something. It was like, or 5:08 or something like that. So yeah, I fell asleep. I had to rewind it. Justine, you missed the alarm for Metal Zone and slept through it. I'm sorry. Last weekend was the memorial set too. Every band I played last weekend has lost a member. And that got weird because I was trying to like, I don't do theme shows. Okay. Like it's just it's kind of annoying. And then B, people always complain. And then you can just never do it right. Right. Like there's somebody, if somebody was listening last week, I guarantee you somebody is out there going, she didn't play so-and-so and they lost and so-and-so died. You know, there's like, and I'm just going to be like, what are you going to do? You know, I did what I could, but I think it still came out to be a pretty good show. So I'm sorry you missed it. That is live radio. If you don't see it, it doesn't happen again. Joseph, you live in the Canadian wilderness and not many bands come that way. That's true. But also, what is it with Canada? I have so many Canadians on my live stream. It's awesome. I need to get Canada Dave in here. Tony, you want to hook up Dave? No, kidding. Don't call Dave. But I do need to kind of hook up Canada Dave with all the Canadians in here so that he can help you guys get to shows because he goes to everything. Oh, thanks, Justine. I am now aware. Sherry, I am in the studio because I went to the Giants game today with the family, so I had to come. There was just no way I was going to be able to work from home and go to the Giants game. The bridge is the X factor that makes that impossible. Right, Kardik? ABBA has good songs. ABBA has jams. Jacob, is there such a thing as energy vampires in rock and roll? There are energy vampires everywhere you go. Literally everywhere. Justine, you like ABBA too? Carlton likes ABBA. Look, ABBA fans coming out the woodwork now that we're old and don't care. Tony, the punks didn't like us long hairs at their shows. It's true, but I was a girl, so they couldn't tell, except I had like 80s hair, so they could tell from that. Too much hairspray. They're like, she's not punk. Or not enough hairspray, really, right? Yeah, 85, 86 is right when I started going to shows, so that tracks. That exactly tracks right around then. And so a lot of the shows I went to back then were crossover at like Gilman and Berkeley Square. And God, I remember one time there was like a park in Napa and like their shows would just pop up anywhere. the lobby of the Richmond Auditorium. You name it. There was a show just popping up. Right, Justine? Knock on wood, Amy Stewart. So good. Amy with 2 eyes. Pink. Cardick, Kerry King's not a big man in stature. Chuck, Billy, and James Hetfield are big units, though. Yes, that is true. But they all are badasses. Those are facts. Yeah. James, Chuck is tallest of the 3. James and Chuck are both taller than I am, and Carrie and I are about the same. I might have like a little bit on him. Saying Chuck was super nice and signed stuff for you. Nice. Yep, Justine, I got a fat lip. Just and in the 80s, big lips were not popular. So in the 80s, I was like trying to like do my lipstick so that my lips look smaller and thinner because everybody wanted Glenn Close lips. And so then when I got a fat lip, it looked even fatter, and I was so self-conscious. I was like, and now people pay for that. Saying you remember Violence? They opened for Testament when you saw them. They're back in action again. It's Sean Killian and friends. Hi, John. Good morning to you too. What time zone are you in that it's morning? Jacob, you're really glad that my in-person experience with rock stars is phenomenal. Sometimes for you, I guess for guys, it can be different. I think for every single person, it's different because we're all individuals. And I think it's also situational. Oftentimes when I am around rock stars, I am the person bringing their beer when I'm working for a concert. And everyone loves the person who brings the beer, which is this one. Or I'm the person playing their band on the radio, which everyone also loves. So I already kind of come in with gifts, and that's probably just a little bit to do with the positive experience I've had with most rock stars. Thank you, Justine. It is my radio show. Canada Dave is in the house. Canada Dave has entered the chat. Did Tony text you? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Because I don't know what it is, Dave. I don't know if you're out there bringing me the Canadians or if Canadians are just somehow being drawn to my live stream. But there's a lot of Canadians around here, and it's kind of awesome. And every time somebody's like, "Oh, I'm in Canada, I never get to shows," I want to send them to you. I want to be like, "You need to meet Canada Dave so that you can go to more shows." Jim, you missed it. Did I lay down some Ozzy and Sabbath on last week's Metal Zone? Of course. Will I do it this week? I don't remember now. I did it like a half hour ago. Let me see. I think so. I have to have. Oh yeah. I start off the show with War Pigs. Spoiler alert. Starting off the show with War Pigs on Saturday. Tony, Canada Dave is legend. Yes, he is. Jacob seeing Kerry King at the beginning of this year contradicted your synesthesia of his metal repertoire. Did you buy a thesaurus, Jacob? Victor, ABBA's awesome too. Yeah. I know, right, Dave? It's like I have a Canadian fan club. I don't know how it's happening, but I'm super stoked for it, you know? Also, I might need healthcare one day, so I might need to sham marriage a Canadian. Although I do already have one lined up. I could use more. There's never enough backups with the way it's going down in the U.S. right now. Jacob, maybe height and weight is what a guy is thinking, but the smell of money exists. You didn't think Sting had close to $1 billion. Sting's got a lot of money. I don't know if it's that much money, but 9 times out of 10, whenever you see dollar amounts that an artist has reported, it's typically not true. Just of the rock stars that I do know, the ones that get reported, and I've been like, "Oh my God, dude, I hear you're a billionaire now." They're like, "No, I'm not." It's, yeah, those things are just made up most of the time. Except like in the case of Bruce Springsteen, where we know he sold his catalog for $500 million. Like, But also they were reporting he was a billionaire before he was. And it's a long way from a billion, from a half a billion to a billion, like a long way. Christopher, why didn't punks and rockers like each other? Everybody needed to feel special. Dave, all the crazy kids came from Fairfield. We did. We had to go over 2 bridges to get to the city, man. So that's why a lot of us hung out in Berkeley and Oakland, because it was so much easier. We only had to pay 1 toll. Cardiac music festivals tend to be extremely eclectic. You remember the Dubai Desert Rock Festival in 2006, Megadeth, Testament played, but so did Three Doors Down and Real Big Fish. I think that's become, I think that's a European model of festival that has become more and more popular in the 2Ks. That sort of thing I don't think would have flown in the US in the 1900s, but now people are cool with it. You know, I mean, back then it was like, when you went to a festival back then, you expected one stage and you expected to watch every band on that stage. So you expected every band to be a band that you wanted to see, or you weren't going to buy the ticket. That's what Day on the Greens were like. Day on the Greens were the first festivals. What the hell was that? Somebody like shouting in the hallway at the station. Day on the Greens were like considered eclectic for the time. You know, Bill Graham was a trailblazer. I mean, Judas Priest and Led Zeppelin. Nobody would have thought of that. John, you watched part of the procession when you woke up? Yeah. Oh, you're in the same time zone. You must have just taken a nap. Tony Dave is the Pied Piper of Canadians. Yeah, he is. Saying 2 of the coolest run-ins you had were Jakey Lee and Jeff Keith, both during and after the 2014 Monsters of Rock cruise. Aww. And you love ABBA. Dude, I'm starting like a secondary ABBA fan club, bros. Tony, Kerry King is not talented enough to justify his arrogance. Tony, Kerry's not even arrogant about his playing. Like, that's the thing. Like, people keep saying how arrogant he is, but he's really not. He's just honest. He'll be like, yeah, I wrote a lot of that. Yeah, I wrote that. And then people get super offended that he wrote stuff. And it's like, okay. I mean, obviously I'm going to be a little bit biased, but also sometimes you got to stop and realize why you dislike someone is often a reason that doesn't exist. It's something that has just like been in your head for so long. You're like, oh, that guy's a dick. Why do you think he's a dick? I don't know. Maybe you were wrong. Maybe he's not a dick. Jacob, sometimes the imagination of someone is better than the actual impression in person. Oh, yeah, they say never meet your idols. Tony, Fairfield is cow tipping champions of the world. We're really not that good at it. I'm pretty sure they're 100% better at tipping cows in, like, I don't know, Oklahoma. Joseph, sorry you got an ABBA album in 1982 when you were 17 and you were hard into Ozzy, Priest, and Maiden at the time. You used it for a Frisbee? What? I'm just saying, man. You could have just enjoyed that ABBA album. I remember some kid did that when I was really little, and I was poor. So for a guy to do this, I was just blown away. But he had the 45 of Queen's Another One Bites the Dust. And he was just like, I am so sick of hearing this song. And he Frisbeed it. He Frisbeed it down the street until it like was useless. And I was all, I would have kept that. Like, just give it to me. Why are you like destroying a perfectly good record? Where I was never going to come up with $3.49 to buy a freaking 45. That would have been cool. But oh well. Sometimes people are dicks. Not you. I'm just saying. Sometimes people. Cardiac, your reservations about Sharon aside. Why do you have reservations about Sharon? Like, just what did she ever do to you? See, this is just like the Carrie King thing, right? There's like this prevailing attitude of like, Sharon sucks. She's a bitch. Blah-da-da. But honestly, like a lot of it's just based on bad press and rumors. And like, you know, the only thing really real that Sharon did that was out of the ordinary for anyone else in her position was the egging of Iron Maiden. So one thing in a half century of being a badass manager and bringing Ozfest to the world, she had that one thing. Of course, we're all going to miss Ozzy. We also should thank Sharon for keeping him alive for as long as she did. Ever think of that? Because I guarantee you, Ozzy would have died a long time ago if it wasn't for Sharon. Dave, you blame it all on your Bay Area family and friends. We'll take that blame. Justine, you thought the cameras were going to follow the procession? No, it's a stationary camera that's always on the bench, and they kind of repurposed it for this. Oh, we're after 7. Okay. Time for me to start kicking this out. What's the traffic look like? Christopher, you went to Metallica GNR body count at the Coliseum. Me too. Oh, that sod fight was epic, right? And it was weird with James just singing and not having a guitar with his arms bandaged. Carlton Carey is the one who held that band together. 100%. Cardick, Carrie King's mouth sometimes gets him in trouble. He disliked Dave Mustaine for a long time. Okay, 2 things. 1, his mouth doesn't get him in trouble. He just says it like it is, and sometimes people don't like hearing that. And 2, everyone dislikes Dave Mustaine. The only people that don't dislike Dave Mustaine are on his payroll. And even then, it's still like 10% of the people on his payroll still like him. That's about it. I know a lot of people that used to work for Dave Mustaine. Tony, you met him enough times. Your opinion is based on that. Okay. I mean, I met him a bunch of times too, and he's always been beyond cool. To the point where like he's offered to take care of me with things that I would never have asked. You know? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I guess everyone's different, right? Situationally, there are some different things. And to be fair, I brought him snacks. You know, I worked a lot of backstage at a lot of Slayer shows, and he already knew me from having met me with Bo Staff in the early 90s. And he really likes my snacks. And that is not a euphemism. I mean, he literally is a guy who enjoys a good snack. So maybe, Tony, maybe you just didn't have good snacks. I'm telling you, show up with some caramel corn or something and see a whole new guy. Maybe he's not a jerk. He was just hangry when you met him. Just a thought. Carlton, somebody was complaining to you about why they hated one of Slayer's albums and blamed it on Carrie, and you told them that Jeff wrote everything on that album and they didn't have much to say after that. Oh, God, yeah. I am so tired of Slayer fans and their whole like, Jeff died, Slayer died, and Jeff wrote all the best songs. And okay. You know what? Jeff wrote a lot of Slayer's fantastic songs. 100%. Jeff is missed on the daily by everyone in Slayer. And everyone who's ever worked for Slayer. However, no one could stop him from drinking himself to death. And Carrie kept the band going. You know? I mean, Slayer was playing the Warfield, and then next thing you know, they're headlining Oakland Arena. That's a big jump. That's a lot of hard work for a band to make that jump. And management. And with zero promo, right? They're not getting any radio airplay. They're Slayer. To be able to build that following is really impressive, especially in this day and age. And it bugs me that Slayer fans have turned on Slayer. Like everything Slayer does now, everybody's like, oh, fucking, and I'm like, okay, weirdos. But anyway, again, I'm biased. My bias is right out front. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not friends with people and that changes my opinion, but I haven't always been friends with them. And I have been friends with them for a very long, whatever. You know what? My side, your side, everybody's situation is different. And sometimes people get treated differently situationally. Thank you, Kardik. I appreciate that. Give Sharon a fair shake, you know? Dave, your friends threw a Venom Warhead 12-inch vinyl out your window when you weren't watching. Why would anyone do that? That's so rude. That's so wrong. Wrong. Tony, ABBA rules. Someone really needs to do a metal version of Take a Chance. The opening is crunchy. I would love to play Knock on Wood right now, but live streams and copyright. Can't do it. Justine, they broke your heart looking at all the flowers and cards. Yeah. Yeah. And then when the rest of like the extended family came in and joined them, it was like, shot through the heart, girl. Shot through the heart. Joseph, I'm a romantic about ABBA. Well, I'm nostalgic about ABBA. Most definitely. My best friend who lived across the street, Jackie Baker, her family had all the albums. We had none. I mean, we had like a Beach Boys album and a Beatles album. And then I got the Grease soundtrack for Christmas. And I think that was it. So I had to go across the street where Jackie's older brother, Mark, had all the cool records. And her sister, Karen, had all the ABBA. I think her parents bought the ABBA too. I think her parents were like big on the ABBA. Christopher, your dad owned a lot of vinyl music. Nice. Justine, you didn't know about the camera focused on the bench. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's typically on the bench all the time. And then for this, they put somebody behind the camera who was like zooming in and out. And then kind of, you could see where they kind of looked back and forth, but you could already tell there was not a lot of mobility on that camera. Jacob, you want to thank me for my live chat? Oh, you're welcome. My voice resonates with you. All right. Christopher, you almost got kicked out and you weren't throwing anything. You were down in the pit like an idiot during body count. Well, they weren't throwing anything during body count. They didn't start throwing stuff until after Metallica, really. Joseph, yes, Dave Mustaine is a dick. That's like a fact. Tony, there you go. Snacks is the key. I mean,
never forget, you are the driver and you are the lord of the air conditioning.
Traffic is getting better. I'm going to have to bolt. But to be fair, Tony, snacks make everyone happier. Start keeping like some lollipops in your pocket. See how much further you get. You thought he was great in Megadeth? Who, Carrie? For that like one show or whatever it was? Yeah, that never would have happened. They would have killed each other. Carrie would have just left. He'd have been like, you're a dick. I'm out. Saying you miss Jeff, but Gary's doing an outstanding job. Of course. I mean, you can see where I've got an interview with Carrie that I did at Shoreline right when Gary was early filling in and Jeff was still alive. And I was like, Team Holt. I mean, I'm like, listen, man, if half of Slayer is from the Bay, it can only get better. You know, Jeff was unable to play. He really drank himself to death. It was sad. Okay. There's a couple comments and everything in those comments is like, what is it? What do they call it? Skrillex. And I can't read any of it. I'm sorry. Saying you love Slayer. Of course. Carlton, and you happen to like what Carrie writes. Thank you, brother. Kartik, on a positive note, you love beer from the Bay Area. Like Anchor Steam or Trumer Pills or what? We've got good beer. We got a lot of good everything out here. We don't like crap. Justine, you hope Sharon will be okay. I doubt she will. I think it's never going to be the same for her, but I think she's just going to carry on as best she can. Joseph, YouTube won't let you say what you think about Dave Mustaine. You tried twice. That's okay. We all know. Tony, Sharon may have her issues. Does she, though? She has her issues of being like really good at her job. Ozzy made it to 76, which is insane, right? Yes, watching her in the family breakdown is just going to I'm never going to forget it. Victor, my live streams are awesome. Wow, thank you. I'm not trying to be awesome. I'm just trying to be. This started out as a way to kill time before I had to drive home. And now you guys are keeping me late. I really am tapping out, though. I think I got everybody. Justine, you love popcorners? Christopher, yes, they did. Ice-T was not happy at all. Oh, well, I didn't see. I was in the 100 sections for that. Tony, he did several shows with Megadeth. You saw 4 of them. Oof, that's creepy. I'm glad you liked it. The whole thing makes me freak. Cool. I'm just glad it didn't last. Justine, you tried to translate those comments in No Dice. Yeah, I wish I could something, but I can't. Sane, thank you for going live. Oh, you're welcome. And we all got to bounce. So tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. As far as I know, I should be at the home studio tomorrow, and I should have no problem logging on. So as long as everything gets done on time, I will see you tomorrow around 6-ish. All right. Have a good one, guys.